What's up, everybody? Welcome back to After the Snap, and I'm your host, Tasha Pierce, and I am back with another movie review. This time is for another Netflix film, Kate. So, Kate was released on September 10th. It stars Mary Elizabeth Winstead and Woody Harrelson, and yeah, this is putting a different spin on the Hitman Revenge movie. So if you like to know what I thought about Kate on Netflix, then let's go. All right, so I'm going to hit you first with this synopsis. Meticulous and preternaturally skilled, Kate is the perfect specimen of a finely tuned assassin at the height of her game. But when she uncharacteristically blows an assignment targeting a member of the Yakuza in Tokyo, she quickly discovers she's been poisoned. A brutally slow execution that gives her less than 24 hours to exact revenge on her killers. As her body swiftly deteriorates, Kate forms an unlikely bond with the teenage daughter of one of her past victims. So, like I said, it's starring Mary Elizabeth Winstead as Kate and Woody Harrelson as her handler, and it is directed by Cedric Nicholas Troyan. And of course, like it was said, it's set in Tokyo, and this movie could have been set anywhere in the world. Am I glad that it was set in Tokyo? Do we get to absorb a lot of the Japanese culture through the lens of Kate? No, this could have been any major city in any place in the world. I don't I don't know why the choice to make it Tokyo, but it doesn't add or take away anything. The only thing that it sets up is that most of our villains, quote unquote, because Kate is a villain. So most of our quote unquote villains are Asian, Japanese for no reason. I just I don't get what that adds to the story. But anywho, Kate follows a burned assassin's furious pursuit of one last self-appointed job. So yeah, this movie runs 1 hour and 46 minutes long. It's pretty much up in the air what the audience and what the critics think. Well, the critics are pretty sure that they don't like this movie, uh, but the audience is kind of split. So, Kate is just the latest revenge action film to come to us from Netflix. This time, it's a trained assassin who's ready to hang it up and just start a normal life. And I always thought how ridiculous that sounds. Like, you want to kill people for a living for so many years and then retire? You know, do you get your own planet like Thanos? I never understood how they thought, how an assassin would think that they had the option to retire early. But anywho, so this might remind you of another assassin who came out of retirement to avenge his dog. But Kate doesn't get the chance to fall in love and become a soccer mom. No, Woody Harrelson is her handler and her surrogate father in this movie. He handed Kate the target that would set her free. But on this, her last assignment, Kate did something that she had never done before. She missed. She missed. And while at first it seems like she's going to just continue to go on this quest to get her mark so she could go on with the rest of her life without this in her ledger, Kate gets poisoned by a one night stand. And instead of preparing for the rest of her life, Kate spends the next 24 hours executing her enemies in some pretty violent ways. So, if you were looking for your kick, an action movie that gives you the gore, that gives you a little bit of hyper violence, we're not taking it to the Suicide Squad levels, but you get some pretty accurate violent scenes of Kate putting people out of their misery. And yeah, our heroine is an active hit woman. So she's not a good person. If you do this whole nature versus nurture thing, she may have been nurtured into being this horrible individual, but still, she's not a good person. But we're supposed to be rooting for her throughout her quest to find the person who poisoned her. Now she serves up justice on all the organized crime families in Tokyo because they serve justice on her, because that's all it would have been. This person who poisoned her found her at a vulnerable spot in her life, basically caught her slipping. So she got caught slipping by this one night stand. But now you want revenge. And I'm not saying that she doesn't have a right to want revenge. I'm saying this is the way you lived your life. This is your code. So if you got caught slipping because you had a one night stand, you didn't vet the person that you were laying down with. This is a way of life for you. So now all of a sudden, now we supposed to be on the side of the hit woman who's going out. She's hitting people, but she don't want to be hit. And that's not fair. This is the game that you chose to play. This is your life. They served up justice. They poisoned her. They had an opportunity to poison her, and they took it. And I don't understand how we're supposed to feel about Kate getting what was coming to her. So anyway, it was very difficult to choose a team. It's hard to know who we're supposed to like in this movie until we meet Ani. And Ani is the child of one of Kate's latest victims. And I guess I kind of liked her, even though like the more she talked, the less I liked her. If that makes sense. So, yeah, it was hard to know who to like. The script didn't help. So, not saying that this was like this terrible script, but the story didn't even give me a real reason to team with Kate. You know, yes, she was on, there was on some Black Widow type ish where she was taken as a young girl and molded into this master assassin. But at some point in your life as an adult, even though she's supposed to be a young adult, at some point in your life as an adult, you say to yourself, oh, this ain't shit I'm supposed to be doing. And you just go do something else. And now you have to live this John Wick life. But then at least I say, okay, I like her because she tried to walk away from the life. We're catching her as she's doing a job that's going to allow her to walk away from the life. And we never get to see her on a good path, if that makes sense. But anywho, the action was intense. And the visual effects were what we would expect from a director like Cedric Nicholas Troyan, who was known for his work as directing The Huntsman, Winter's War. That was in 2016. And then he did visual effects for Snow White and the Huntsman and The Ring. And we see some of his signature style in the visual effects for the movie Kate. The story, like I say, is rather formulaic. I can't remember the last action movie I saw that didn't borrow from other action movies. It's been a long time since I've seen something and I can say this is completely original. The music choices, in a lot of places, I enjoyed them. And they kind of went along with what was going on in the movie. The cinematography kept things interesting. There were a couple of different styles employed, especially when she was going on, a close quarter rampage. So there were a few of those in this movie, and the cinematography in those instances change, but again, they will take you to what you've seen in other action movies. It's not doing anything novel, but it is keeping things interesting as far as the cinematography goes. And I always say, that you never know what you're going to get with a Netflix film. When they hit, they are awesome. And when they miss, they are shit. And Like I say, the script isn't the worst that I've seen this year. Shout out to Karen for that one. But it is by far the weak link in this movie. There were also ideas that were introduced in the movie and that were never revisited. Like, we never got to understand what her affinity for Boom Boom Lemon. And when you watch the movie, you will know exactly what Boom Boom Lemon is. But we know she likes it. But it never came to me why was she constantly asking for this? Would this be a dying woman's last wish? Is that the way we were supposed to take it? But anywho, overall, the movie wasn't a waste of nearly 2 hours. We got to see Mary Elizabeth Winstead prove she could be a star in the action genre, and that to me was worth it because she did. She held her own in this movie, especially if, and I don't know how much of the stunts were done by Mary Elizabeth Winstead, but she pulled it off. She was a very believable, anguished woman, but she just didn't have much of a personality beyond that. On my 1 to 5 scale, I give Kate a 3. There was enough to like about this movie for me to recommend it to you. Give it a chance. Now, if you've watched Kate, what were your thoughts? And do you think that we'll see a Kate part 2? I don't know how. But if you think we will see one, especially given that this movie has been very popular on Netflix over the weekend. So, if you watched it, what were your thoughts? And do you think we need a sequel to Kate? And do you have any ideas for future movie or TV series reviews? Let's hear it in the comments. And while you're there, hit the like button and subscribe with notifications so you will never miss an upload. I'm going to put this right here to say thank you to my patrons. And if you'd like to be a patron, you can visit patreon.com/Tasha Pierce, and you will be able to choose a tier and donate to the show if that's what you would like to do. And thanks for hanging out with me again this week. I will see you in the next one. Peace.